Hello everybody, welcome back to the Kuchi-e Gallery YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing package opening video number 17. Thank you all for coming by to check it out. This time I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. Usually I am opening packages from Japan, and this is technically a package from Japan as well. But this time, these are the prints that I bought when I was in Japan in January. So I have packed them up. This is how I packed them, by the way, because I had to ship them back in my luggage. And I was afraid that they would get damaged. And so what I did was I found this cardboard somewhere. I might have bought it actually, but I went to Daiso. Yeah, I went to Daiso, Japan, and I bought a bunch of supplies. And I bought these little folder things. So I put these inside, and then I added like some thick cardboard to the top of it, and then I put this on top of it to like tape it all together tight. And then I put this level for extra security, and I taped it all over. And they got home safely, as far as I can tell, anyway. I haven't actually looked in this yet, so I just opened it so we could all take a look at them. But I'm going to take these out of here, and we will move on from there. So let me just set that down there. I'm just going to put these here. But because these things are a little bit reflective, I'm going to move them off to the side. I'm just going to pull these out one by one from the side so we can go through them. That one, actually, I want to save for last. I was able to see through that one. I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's actually one of my favorite ones. So let's leave it to the last one. Let me just get rid of these real quick and try not to take a look at these. You're going to be spoiling your own excitement by looking. So don't look. Just don't even try to look. If you're trying to look, you're just ruining this surprises for yourself. Okay. But yeah, there's some pretty cool pieces. I don't remember what they are. I was just talking to a friend the other day about this, and I was like, I don't remember what these are, actually. I bought them, and I basically packed them, because I bought them all on the same day. It was the day that I went to Jimbocho, and I was able to look around there. So, yeah, so anyway, these are them. Let's go ahead and take a look at them, and I don't know what this is, but we're going to start with this one. Oh, this is a great one. I do remember it now that I see it from the back. All right, here we go. Without further delay, we'll start with this one. This is a print by Kaburaki Kyokata, and it is a really cool design. I don't think I've ever seen this for sale before. I mean, it didn't even ring any bells with me. I was able to find it in the book, but yeah, it didn't ring any bells with me. And so I thought, yeah, okay, I should definitely grab it, while I'm there. It does have a little bit of discoloration right down here, although I'm going to try and see if I can take it out. But in any event, this is a Kuchi-e by Kaburaki Kyokata. Clearly, it has a single beauty right down the center here. And the thing that's kind of interesting about this one is that it has no fold lines. So it was, from the publisher most likely, just like overstock or leftover stock. Maybe it had a little chip here. You just don't know. But then at some point they sold it on, and it ended up in the gallery supply chain, let's say. So let's see. Actually, I wanted to use one of those pieces I just had because it was kind of thick. Let me pull that back out of there. We can use this to put stuff on to like hold them up a little bit easier for the camera. Okay, there we go. So anyway, yeah. So Kuchi-e by Kaburaki Kyokata, and I don't have any information about this. I didn't even look it up. Like I said, I only am seeing it for the first time right now, other than when I saw it when I bought it. So yeah, really nice print. Has a single beauty. Aside from this little bit of smudge down here and this little bit on the bottom right here, it's actually in really great condition. When you consider the fact that this print was not put into a book, okay? So if you think about it, when they put it in a book, they trim it. So this would have been trimmed on this side. It would have been trimmed on the bottom down here because it would not have had this little gap at the bottom. They would have trimmed that off. And it would have been trimmed on this side up to this margin point right here. So it actually isn't that much stuff at the bottom here, because when you think about the fact that this would be trimmed off if this was in the book, you're only having this little smudge here, actually. I mean, it's not like that because it's full. The top margin could be like this. Sometimes they do put the staples up here at the very top. So it is possible that you would see, the top margin this long, but you're rarely seeing side margins too much in Kuchi-e from the book. Not that there are none, but, not a ton. So anyway, we have Kuchi-e here. She's holding on to some flowers. It looks like mums, maybe, or chrysanthemums or mums. I don't know which. But yeah, let's start at the face. So essentially, we have a really nice beauty here, and the face is lovely. With Kyokata, as I always say, and as we probably all know, people that are familiar, excuse me, Kiyokata, spared no detail. Like, he was very good with the details, and this piece is similar. So we have the beauty here. Let's see, which is the best view. So we have the beauty here, and she has a lovely face, a little bit of redness. Oh shoot, hang on, where's my bone? I need my bone pointer thing. Hang on just a second. Sorry about that. Hang on while I get myself situated. Okay, there we go. Actually, let's see if I can zoom in better so it's not so me moving it around so much. There you go. That looks much better, actually. Okay, there we go. Okay, so here we have a beauty. Here's the face. Lovely face. Really nice face for Kiyokata. Typical design. Most people who are familiar with Kiyokata's work would pretty easily be able to tell that this is by Kiyokata. Lovely hair, which is common with Kiyokata. The thing I really like about the face, though, which I'm not sure how well you guys can see this, but do you see this like slight pink? There's just a tiny, tiny bit of pink flush here. It's practically not even visible. Can you guys see that? It's hard to tell on the camera whether you can see it. But anyway, there is just a tiniest bit of flush in both cheeks. I really love that. Sometimes it's a little bit too much. We looked at a print recently that was also by Kiyokata, where sometimes they actually put it, and it looked a little garish, like it was a little bit too much sometimes. The one that I had wasn't too bad. Some people still might think it's a little too much. This one seems to be almost perfect because it's very, very light on the face. But then we have the hair, which is nice. We have the typical Kiyokata style of having a hairpiece here, and then we have a nice bow in the back here, which is nice. It's kind of a almost like a like a green, sort of a green color, which is kind of unusual. It's not a common color, I would say, in these prints, but I like it. So then we come down. The face is nice. The mouth is nice. The eyebrows, again, really nicely done. Thin line work, extremely thin line work here at the hair. Not too much of the bokashi. There's a little bit of bokashi here, but not too much. Sometimes it's a little over much. This one's pretty. It's pretty dialed back. It's not too much. So so then we go down a little bit, and we have the kimono here. So we have the inner kimono. There's a nice little an affectation right here. I don't know if this is a pin or what this little red piece right here is, but it's clearly some kind of decorative motif that you could pin onto your kimono, and maybe you would join these collars together with that little pin. There is a very tiny bit of metallics here. There's a couple right here on the kimono, on the inner kimono, and then if we go down a little, there are a few spots here in the obi belt, I guess you would say. There's a little bit in the back right here too. But that's it for the metallics, which is great because I don't want too much metallics in my designs. I think they can be too much, as I've always said. But we have a really lovely outer kimono here. It's kind of a deep purple. And then we have these even deeper purple like slash marks here, which is a really nice design. It shows up really well, and it looks very nicely done. One thing I do like about this dress, and this is, it's not uncommon, but it's not quite that common either, which is that they've actually done bokashi on the dress right here. So the dress starts off at this darker purple, and then it gets darker. I mean, rather, it gets dark at the top, and then it gets lighter and lighter and lighter. And as we go down to the bottom, it actually fades to a much lighter purple. It's a really nice affectation. I wish I wish they would do more of that with clothing. Actually, I think it's a really nice effect. Overall, it's kind of it's kind of a simple design. Basically, we have a beauty who's exiting a house or building, and then in the background we have a blue sky. And again, I'm not sure. Can you guys see the blue? It's very light. The blue of this sky is very, very light. We have a dragonfly here, which we also had in a recent print that we were discussing. So this is another print by Kiyokata that has a dragonfly. And then we have some flowers here, which are really nicely done. My friend Ray, I'm sure, can tell us what kind of plant this is. Ray, what kind of plant is this? Can you see that? What does that look like to you? I'm not sure, actually. It's pretty, though. It's nicely done flowers. And then at the bottom, we have another flowers. And I think these are like mums or something. They look like mums to me. Maybe chrysanthemums. The leaves probably are a giveaway for whoever knows about these sort of things. Down here at the bottom, we actually have a couple of seals, which I find fairly interesting. I'm actually going to move my camera, guys. Sorry, I'm a little too far. I'm going to keep bumping into the back wall there. But anyway, so we have the We have the Kiyokata. Actually, let me zoom this back out a little so I can bring this up maybe. Can't get this to be focused. Well, anyway, we have Kiyokata's seal right here. There is no Kiyokata signature on this print, so we don't have a signature to deal with. But there is this little stamp here, and I'm actually not sure what that's all about. Anybody who knows what this is, please leave a comment. I'm not sure what that is. So I'll have to look it up in the Tomo Asahi DVD, if it's in there. I'm not sure if it is. I haven't looked it up yet, obviously. But yeah, I don't know if it's in there or not. But it does have these two stamps, which I kind of like the effect. It gives it a little bit of a nod back to ukiyo-e's stamps. Again, I will pull back a little bit so you guys can see the full image here. It's a really, really nice print. Very beautiful. And I'm glad I got it. I kind of hemmed and hawed. If anyone was in Jimbocho in Japan during January, you might have seen this print and thought, well, the condition's not perfect. And no, it isn't perfect. But, you know, a lot of Kuchi-e prints aren't perfect in the condition department. So we take what we can get sometimes. I've never seen this, I don't think. I mean, honestly, it didn't ring any bells with me. Like, I didn't recognize the image, and I don't recognize having ever seen it before either. So, yeah, I don't know. Just a nice piece. The yen was very favorable when I was there, so everything was really nicely priced, which is great. And still pretty favorable now, actually. Not as much as it was, I don't think, in January, but who knows? I haven't been paying attention to it since I'm not going to go back anytime soon. But anyway, just a really lovely piece. Let's take a look at the back. A beautiful bleed through. Perfect bleed through. That's lovely. And this purple just bleeds so nicely through this paper. This purple, the blue, the red, all these right here just like really come through nicely. Lovely piece. Super happy to own it. I think it's a little bit larger than my book here. Yeah, it's larger than the book. So I'm going to have to get another book for this one. So for now, I think I'm just going to put it back in one of these plastic folders to keep it safe until I have a chance to put it away in the larger book. I have some folios that are like slightly larger, which allows me to basically it just allows me. What did I? Oh, here it is. It just allows me to put in pieces that are like either close to the edge of the folio, or if they're just even much larger, which some of them are. But this little makeshift thing I did at Daiso worked out really great, actually, for shipping. I felt very secure the whole way, and I kept them in my backpack. I had a carry-on backpack, and then we had checked luggage also. And yeah, I felt like it was really great. It turned out great. I didn't feel any worry about them getting damaged. So I did a pretty good job with that. Anyway, it's a good idea to package your stuff up, even if you're bringing it home. All right, let's do the next one, which I don't know what this one is either. Let me take out there's like a little tag. Let me just take the tag out real quick. Okay, this one actually goes this direction. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, well that's a lovely piece too. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one also. Okay, here we have another design by Kaburaki Kiyokata. I didn't realize that I got two actually. I was telling my friend too the other day when I was talking about doing this video, I was like, oh, I'm actually not sure. I'm actually not sure what's in here. I really couldn't remember. So I only looked at these pieces like one time. So, I looked at them and then I bought them and then I basically put them away. This one does have a fold line. I was thinking maybe it didn't, but it does. But it's actually in really decent condition. There's a little bit of some I guess like some little bit of marks here, a little bit of like, some tiny little maybe foxing marks. I don't know. They're very small. Let me zoom in a little bit. Let me give you guys a better shot of the piece as a whole, and I'll just hold still for a minute so you guys can take a look at it. Let me zoom it out just right. There, that should be pretty good. That's basically the whole piece right there. Okay, so what we have here is Kuchi-e by Kaburaki Kiyokata. I think I've seen this print in books before, but I hadn't seen it for sale before. It does have some very interesting things going on in this design that I think are lovely. A little bit different than some of his other designs, than lots of other designs, especially these flowers up here in this area up here. I don't know how they made these, but they look like they either added gofun, which is like white, it's made from like, oyster shells or clam shells or some sort of shell, and they crunch them up and they make like a white ink out of it, and it gives an interesting kind of matte finish, let's say, and it's really great for like waves, and they'll like splash it on like that, and it makes like wavy patterns. Or if it's the snow, they'll fleckle it like snow, and you can look like snow. It's a really great medium, and it looks really nice sometimes. Here we have some flowers or something kind of flowing around the page too. And at first I was like, are these, are these, I couldn't tell, like, were they, was it like mistakes or pieces of repairs? Like, I just couldn't really tell. But after looking at it, I believe it's just the leaves. Like, it's supposed to be falling leaves. There's some here. She's actually holding on to a flower here in her hand. But yeah, that's the best I could tell, is that they're leaves, because they look planned somehow. I need to check it versus, if I can find a comparable image, I'll check it to see if the images that are in the, like on the Tomo Asahi DVD, I can check it and see if there's little spots like this in that one as well. Excuse me for a second. But yeah, let's get back to this design. Things that I think are very interesting about this design: it has a lot of work done to it. So this print is very, very colorful. There's a lot of levels, a lot of layers, and a lot of bright colors and interesting colors. This is probably one of the more impressions. In other words, there's the most amount of colors and the most amount of work required in this print compared to other prints, because there's not a lot of crossovers between them, the two characters or other parts of the print. Like, for instance, there's like this pink here, these pink flowers, and this kind of pink spot right here, and there's some pink down here. But there's not a lot of pink on this side, maybe a little tiny bit here and there. But usually when they're using the colors in designing wood blocks, they'll try to share them. So they won't put them right next to each other, because then it looks like a lot of pink or a lot of blue or whatever in one area. But they'll kind of spread them around. And so this beauty over here will have some in here, and then this person over here will have a whole dress of that color, that kind of thing. So I just think it's nice that there's so many colors used in this one. At least that's what I get from it. But it is really nice. So we have two beauties. We have one here, one here. This one obviously standing. This one is sitting in a small square inset. Now, I'm not sure if you guys can see this. Let me see if I can. Gosh, it's so hard for me to see there. Okay, do you see that? See the little square patterns here? So they use blind printing inside this box. So inside this box around right here, inside the inset, they use blind printing to give it a texture and make it pop out a little bit more. I don't see any other blind printing. So that's it for the blind printing. But it's nicely done. It's hard to tell when you're looking at it from the screen, but I think you guys could see it there when I zoomed it up. Okay, so let's talk about the beauty on the left first. Actually, you know what? Let's not. Let's talk about the beauty on the right first, because I can zoom in a little bit and kind of focus on her. So she is definitely the less impressive of the two characters, I would say. Still really nice. She's got her head down in a kind of a forlorn, definitely a sad feeling going on here. I'm not sure, what reason. We obviously don't know that. I haven't read the book. I have no idea what book this even comes in. But basically, we have a beauty here. She has a very large obi, it looks like. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know that much about the parts of the kimono that are on the back, like the obi. I don't know why there would be a larger one, why some might be smaller or higher. Unfortunately, that's one of those things I just don't know a lot about. I don't know a lot about kimonos either, and the language of the kimono. But anyway, we have kind of a beautiful woman here. She's kind of looking down, a little bit sad. Beautiful hairstyle, very, very slicked back. We have a couple of pins. There's a little bit of a tie right here. And yeah, just really lovely, really, really lovely hairdo on this one. And then we have, you guys, I'll tilt it up so you can see it. But we have, can you guys see that? Gosh, it's so hard for me to see these things without with my glasses on. Hang on a minute, I gotta get the right exact. There, can you guys see that right there? See, the hair has the bokashi, the burnishing rather, in the hair here. Gosh, I can barely see this. I don't know why it's super dark right now here. But anyway, it is there. I just am not sure if you guys can see it or not. Here, let me try to zoom in a little. There, you can see it on the back part of the hair right there. But anyway, it's really lovely. Sorry you guys can't see it a little more clearly. But it is very, very lovely. The hair is really well done. And then she's kind of like hunched over. So she's sitting on the ground. Her kimono comes down. It's very kind of a gray. The tones are very down. So not whoever, but Kiyokata's design of this, he obviously wanted this to feel a little bit melancholy or a little bit sad, which he's done a good job. There's definitely some longing or some sadness or some, someone's being forlorn. And this person is that person for sure. So, and she's got a nice pop of red right here, which is really lovely. Otherwise, she just has this obi on the back, which is quite large, and it's like a pool of water. So we can see that it's like a water pattern, like a pond or maybe the ocean, and then it has like leaves and sort of like flowery motif kind of floating through it. There is another one of those little spots right here, and I don't know if that's a mistake, and I'm not sure if this is a mistake. They might not supposed to be here because there's one here, one here. The rest of them look planned, but these two, for some reason, they don't look exactly right to me. So I don't know where they came from, if they're just a mistake or whatever. But anyway, there's one here and it matches this one here. You guys see that? Yeah, so it matches here and here. I don't know why that's like that. So, but it is. So anyway, all right. So she does have a little bit of a flower pattern here on the bottom of her kimono, but it's not really very evident here. Let's move on to the other beauty. Here, I'll show you the tree real quick. Let's take a look at the tree. So the gofun, let's see, can you guys see it? Like, so you see how this gofun is, I don't know if you can tell, but it's like hand applied. It's very interesting. Can you guys see how it looks kind of like it's a little faded out here? But it's like these are, I mean, they're all hand applied, obviously, because these are handmade. But I mean, this is like specifically hand applied, I believe. Like it's not usually done through the screening process, as far as I know. It's usually hand applied. I don't know if that means hand painted or maybe stamped on. I'm not exactly sure, but I know that typically gofun is hand applied. It's not part of the screening process with the woodblock when you're doing the woodblock printing with the baron and the wood like that. So yeah, for some reason they are hand applied. I think it's probably because it dries quickly, or there must be something about it that doesn't work well for using it on the wood and the baron and all that, like the way they normally do it. So so let me zoom out a little bit so we can look at the beauty on the left. Now the beauty on the left is clearly the better of the two. It's a much, much nicer design. We have a beauty here with a lovely hairdo. Again, we have the bokashi. Can you guys see it on this one? It's very difficult for me to do this from here, but can you guys see that? There, you can see it on this one, right here. See how it comes out right here? You can see all of that. The other one looks just like that too, but I was having a very difficult time getting it to show up. But anyway, in person, you can definitely see it. So we have a lovely hairdo showing a nice bit of burnishing. We have a hair like a bow here. So we have a hair bow in this woman's hair, which is really nice. And then we have a nice face sort of looking off in the distance. So her gaze is going this way. Maybe missing her friend, her daughter, her sister. I don't know what book this came from. Clearly, it relates to the story, probably. But just a really nice, a really nice print where two people are clearly missing each other. She's holding up her kimono right here, and I'm not sure what this is. So I can't tell. I'm looking at it. It looks like it might be a book. Maybe it's a letter, but she's holding on to something right here. And she's also holding up the sleeve. And I don't know if that's just so it doesn't drag on the ground, but it's really done a lovely thing where it's kind of like left this inner sleeve hanging right here. And it's really, really beautiful. Just looks really, really nice. I love that look right there. That kind of hanging draped look right there. It's really nice. And then we have the rest of the kimono coming down. You can see a little bit of the inner belt of the obi here. So we have a little obi on the back here, and the obi is really nice too, by the way. It's got this really nice pink, and there's again a tiny, tiny bit of metallics. Not much, just a very, very small amount. You guys see those little pops of metallic around the edge? It's not a lot. They're just like on the outside of the petals. Very, very small amount. So then we have her holding this arm up. This arm here again. We have the matching red inner. Like under clothes, I guess you'd say. So we have that little bit of the under red here poking through. We have this beautiful, again, sleeve of the kimono that just has this lovely flower design right here. And it works really well on this one. So we have like beautiful flowers kind of flowing all the way down. The other thing is you can see the bokashi. Again, we have the fading. So here they've done a little bit of a dark fade going down, and it continues right here. It gets darker, and then it goes lighter and lighter. Really lovely. It's a nice effect. That's, again, pretty uncommon. I mean, I haven't seen a lot with this like exact kind of thing. I love that, the way it fades like that. And then the thing about this particular print that I think has a really nice pop is this blast of reddish, orangish, yellowish color right here. That's just really lovely. Just like boom, it just like pops out like boom, you know, it just explodes across this whole print. So it really pulls the entire print together with the visual of this flame from this sensor right here, this kind of burner sensor. And it's done a lovely job of kind of flowing all the way across, ties both sides together really nicely. There is a tree in the background. It's kind of a, you know, it's not really adding a huge amount to the print, but it is nice anyway. We do have a Kiyokata signature down here at the bottom. I don't know the date of this print, but I would guess it's pretty early. I'm going to guess this is between 1900 and 1905. Well, 1901 was his earliest print, so I'm going to guess it's from 1901 to 1905, somewhere in there. I could be wrong, though. I don't know. I don't recognize it. We do have a close-up here. You can see the rings, a couple of rings, and then you have a flower in her hand right here. So really, really lovely design. Very nicely done. We can take a look at the bleed through. Nice bleed through on this one. Comes through really well. Again, you can see the fading here of this color on this dress really nicely. Just a really nice design. I really like this design. These were definitely not cheap, even with the heavy advantage we had on the of the pricing. You know how the yen was so much in our favor. These were still pretty expensive. Like they weren't inexpensive pieces at all. So let me put this away real quick, and then I will be right back with you guys. Hang on one moment. But yeah, nice piece. I was really happy to get it. I was debating on the condition. I couldn't tell. I mean, it's not in bad condition per se, but I was just, again, I wasn't like 100% sure about it. You know, I was like, I can't tell if this is how it's supposed to look, because I didn't really have an easy way to research things in Japan when I was walking around. So that was, something I just had to deal with. Okay, let's move on to print number 3. I'm going to do, I think, 5, maybe 6 prints today. I don't want to make this video like too long, just because I'm going to try and post it tomorrow. So I'm going to give myself only a 1-day turnaround here. Okay, was that 1? That's only 1. Okay, cool. All right, let's do this one next. Okay, this is a lovely print. I already have a copy of this, but okay, the next print we're going to look at is not by Kaburaki Kiyokata. This design is by Tomeoka A-sen. Now, a lot of people have seen this print and are very familiar with it. It's a very, very lovely print, and a lot of people have managed to get copies of it. And I was really happy to secure another copy of it. It's always had kind of a watercolory effect, this print. You have this, I think they call her like a demon goddess or something like that. She has these kind of like demon sort of character designs in her kimono here. Yeah, and it just kind of has an overall kind of a fadey effect to it. And then you have this skull down here. So you have the beauty at the top. There's a little bit of like something here. It looks like a little bit of water. Yeah, it looks like from the back we can see there was a little bit of water come through. This one was really reasonable, though. I think it was, like very affordable. So I'm happy with it. I wouldn't have bought it if it was pricey. This one was not pricey. But I think it's a rare enough design that someone would like to have this in their collection. I happen to have one that's in much better condition. But, like I said, at some point, if I open a gallery, or when I open a gallery, with this job I have right now, I can barely do videos. So I don't know how I'll be making that happen. But when and if that happens, this would be one that I would sell, and then, somebody else could have a copy of this. They're not uncommon. Like, I think this print is, you can find it. If you're looking for it within a year or two, you could find a copy, but they go up to many hundreds of dollars sometimes. So someone will really appreciate that this one will be a little bit more affordable because it has a little bit of a water something here, and it's not like perfect right here. Although honestly, the margins are great on this one. So a lot of times these green outside edge right here is trimmed, and this one, it really isn't trimmed. It's actually quite large. Matter of fact, size-wise, let me just measure it real quick, and you guys can see how big this one is. This one is far and away one of the larger designs. It's basically the size of a regular oban. Yeah, so this is 14 and a half inches long by 9.5 inches wide. And that's a very, very large Kuchi-e. As you probably know, anybody who's familiar with Kuchi-e, they're usually 8.5 by 11. So this is you know, literally 20%, 30% larger. Like it's a much, much larger print, but it's really nice. I have one copy. Maybe I have two. I don't think so. I think I only have one copy of this. They're not easy to find in great condition. I do find they're often in not great condition. So, all right, let's take a little bit of a breakdown on this one. So let me zoom in just a little bit here. All right, so we have a beauty here. She has a really interesting hairstyle. So her hair has kind of been cut into two parts here. And the thing I think is really interesting about it is that, sorry, hang on a second. I'm trying to like brighten this up somewhat. I don't know why I can't get it to be very bright. Hopefully it's bright enough for you guys. But in any event, you can kind of see, you know, so here you can really see the, gosh, this is so long. I'm having a hard time doing this. See the hair here? So you can really see that this one has a lot of burnishing in it. You can really see it pop. See that pop right there? That's what that burnishing looks like when you see it on in the print in person. It has this really nice effect that when you turn it a little bit, it just really shows the hair. It's really, really nice. And here there's another really interesting effect they've done where they have done some bokashi in this center section right here. It almost looks like someone took a knife and just like shrink, like sliced the hair in half, you know, and cut a chunk out of the middle, which I think is kind of interesting. I haven't seen a lot of Japanese woodblock hairdos that look like this one. That's pretty interesting. Maybe if I was seeing more, oh, this is called the Hell Courtesan. That's what it is, the Hell Courtesan. But maybe if I saw more pieces of the Hell Courtesan, maybe there are more with this haircut. I haven't really looked at them, so I don't know. But anyway, we have a really nice, typical kind of features of a character by Tomioka Eisen. Really nice. We have these, obviously, we have these hair pins. There's a whole bunch of them in this hair design, which I think is really dynamic. And then we have the beauty's face, which is kind of angry, let's say, or kind of, you know, it has like an intense look, let's say. So it's a very intense sort of facial feature, like kind of a little upset or a little frowning. There's a little bit of smudgy, like handling prints here and here, but, you know, again, like I said, you know, there's going to be price points for all kinds of things. I don't always skip things because they're not in perfect condition if the design is really dynamic, and this one is very dynamic. So then we have the really, really dynamic, the kimono. So it's got this kimono that has like these faces in it. So I'm sure you guys can see there's like faces here and here. There's a face up here. It just has a real intense, like dynamic, you know, kind of explosive feel. There's all these interesting color patterns kind of throughout. We have this kind of corally looking blue cloudy structure here. It's just really lovely. And then it has this kind of wall pattern. So you see how there's like this linked wall pattern that goes through the whole, I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's the obi or if it's something else. I don't actually, not sure what this is called on a kimono. If one of you know what that is, let me know. I have no idea what this thing is right here. I just know it obviously is part of this outfit. And then we have the kind of like overcoat here, which has like cranes or, you know, something. It's some kind of a flying bird, like a crane, maybe, or maybe an egret, you know, something like that. But really nicely done. And then it fades really hard right here. Now, I will say there are various types of qualities of this print. Some of them, this is really bright, really powerful, really potent, and some are faded out so much you can barely see them. This one is kind of in the middle. I would say this is more of a middle level of this design. You know, it's still really good because you can see all the details, but it also is not as dark as some of the other copies I've seen. All right, and down here at the bottom, we have this really interesting skull. Now, look, you can barely see it, but do you guys see this kind of like, you know, it's got a little kind of a smoky sort of feeling to it? Well, it's supposed to be a little bit more dynamics in some of them. It has like a smoky look to it. This one just looks kind of grubby. I don't think it's the look that they intended. Some of them seem to have more of a feel, but again, I'm drawing from memory here, so maybe I'm just imagining that, but I could see that looking really cool. If they had like smoke, you know, coming. I don't think there's smoke necessarily, but I do feel like there's a little bokashi kind of thrown in here sometimes, so it looks a little bit just like misty, let's say. But anyway, we have this skull at the bottom. Really interesting skull. Clearly the top of the skull, the bottom of the jaw is missing. Definitely lends a sort of like, you know, like an evil sort of vibe to this print by throwing this skull on here. And then we have the Tomioka Eisen signature right here. It's just a really lovely piece. I think this piece is good for any collection. If you have a Kuchi-e collection or you're looking to build one, this is a good print to get. They always seem to go up in value. People definitely like them, and I don't have any reason to believe they won't be collectible for a long time. The fact that it's an image of the Hell courtesan already sells itself. It has a skull, which is like a nice selling point. And yeah, I'm not sure what kind of large magazine these came in. They must have come in a pretty good sized book though, because you can see like, it folded into quarters. That's how they did it. So it folded like this and like this, or, something like that. I see. Okay. So it didn't have to be a huge book. I was thinking, gosh, it looks like it's only bent in half, which would have been a very large book, for the times anyway. Again, also one thing here, which I didn't mention, is that we have a little bit of, oxidation happening on this orange. It's quite common on oranges. I've said over and over again. Oranges specifically, for some reason, have a lot of oxidation, and this one also has a little oxidation going on. So anyway, there we have it, a really beautiful print by Tomioka Eisen. And by the way, I will be putting, this one's way too large to put in this book, so I'm going to do another, I'll put it safely away until I can get back to it later. But I was going to say, I will put all the details of all the pieces we're talking about today into the beginning notes section of this video. So after the video, if you'd like to go and see what the names of these prints, or if you want to try and search them down, or if you're looking to hunt one down, I'll put as much information as I can about each print into the description, into the video description for the video. So if you want to know more info about some print, you really like it, if I can find the info, which sometimes I can't, but if I can find them, I will definitely put the info in there for you guys so you can go and look for one of these yourself. This one is probably not that hard to find because it's Tomioka Eisen Hell Courtesan. Shouldn't be too difficult, I don't think, to find one of these. They're out there, like I said, and yeah, I think it's it's a really nice design. If you can find a copy, definitely worthy of putting in your collection. Okay, next design. This is quite a common design. A lot of people with Kuchi-e collections have this design. I have 2 copies of this, I think, maybe currently, and this will be the 3rd. I do think it's a really lovely design, though, and I'm very, very happy to have another copy because I think they're super collectible. And this used to be like the design that people wanted. There was a time, early in Kuchi-e collection where this was like considered a very, very cool, interesting print of this era. So let me go ahead and bring this out. This is obviously, well, not obviously, for those of you who don't know, but for those of you who collect Kuchi-e, you'll recognize this is a Mizuno Toshikata piece. It obviously has a girl at the shoreline who is, a beauty, or a girl, like let's say a young woman at the shoreline collecting shells, and she's putting the shells into this kind of lovely scarf or handkerchief right here. So this is a really great design. It's almost the perfect design for like a pleasant piece, like a really beautiful, pleasant, almost like it's a full picture. I'm always talking about how I prefer if these designs have full images. Sometimes it'll just be, kind of like that last one. It had the Hell Courtesan and then it had a little skull, but the background was basically plain. I like those too. And there are a lot of them. So if you're going to collect Kuchi-e, you kind of have to pick and choose if you're going to do one kind of collecting or another. For me, I really love these kind of designs that have the full image detailed. I like them all, though. I'm not saying I don't like the other kind, because I clearly do. But this one I happen to like a little bit more. And this one in particular is very, very nice. So essentially what we have here is we have a beauty who is bent over at the beach. She's collecting shells and it looks like shells and rocks, like little things like you would find, little sand dollars and stuff like that at the beach. And then she's putting them in this beautiful handkerchief. Now, we have a lovely design, though, because we have the full beach. So we have the waves coming into the shoreline. We have these people out here in the fishing boats. We have a little bit of a mountain edge. We have the horizon line. We have the ocean. These are all things that they were not doing enough of, in my opinion. I wish Mizuno Toshikata had lived longer, actually. He died very young, actually, and so he was not doing as many Kuchi-e. He did a lot, actually, but he was not doing anywhere near as many as I would have liked. This print is from 1905, and I think he died fairly close to that. I don't think he lived much further than this, unfortunately. People say that he worked himself to death. He was one of the most desired artists during this period. He was one of the most desirable artists during this period, and his workload was incredible and he didn't take a lot of rest time. So people think sometimes that maybe he worked himself to death, which, you know, you can do. He was in his 40s when he died, so he was not that old. Okay, in any event, we have a beauty here who's bent over. She has a really nice pulled back hairdo. There's not a lot of bells and whistles in this print as far as you know, like bokashi, and I mean there's a little bit of bokashi. I don't even know if the bokashi is actually here in the background. So all the bokashi we see is in this. All this stuff along the sea right here, the bokashi of the fading of this mountain, the little bit of bokashi in the water here, and a little bit here. So most of the bokashi we're going to see in this print is in the background, and there's a little bit showing up in these purple parts of this kimono. But we have a beauty. She's bent over. She has a really nice, a lovely bow tie in her hair here. Her hair is swept back in a more modern style, and then it's loosely draped over her back. That's really nice design, definitely indicative of the late 19th century. So yeah, that's quite common probably for the last 10 years of the 19th century. And then she's bent over. She has a beautiful kind of over kimono, which is this purple and blue design. And she clearly is wearing an obi because it bumps out right here in the back, but we don't see it. We just have an indication that it's there because of this square bump right here. But she's wearing, actually, let's do her face first, sorry. So her face is here. Now, the nice thing about this print is her eyes are kind of downcast, so she's looking down at what she's doing. That's a really nice affectation. A lot of artists miss out on these kind of subtleties, but Toshi Kata was one of the best, so he's definitely gonna pick up on that kind of thing. The interesting thing about this design, which is a little bit uncommon to me anyway, are that this outer kimono here has tassels on it, which is kind of interesting. So these red, like sort of like knotted, you know, like rope tassels. That's really pretty. It's a nice design, and it kind of splays out a little bit over here, so it's not just like hanging. You know, it's kind of like, it gives a little bit of shape to this bent over because it kind of creases right here. But yeah, it's just nice. It's interesting. But we have this beauty looking down. She's looking down here. She's picking up the shells. This hand has the shells in her hand. And then we have the lovely handkerchief here, which has this lovely red border on it. Really nicely done. Great design. And then she has the little shells and stuff she's picked up in here to take home for later. And then we have this interesting inner kimono. So we have several layers here. So we have an underwear kind of layer. We have an underwear layer, the white one here. And then we have another layer which has a little bit of green speckling on it. And then we have this kind of, it's almost like you know, like basically it's like a Pendleton, sort of like a Pendleton shirt kind of pattern, or like a, what do they call it? Macintosh pattern, you know, kind of like anyway, what you might find on any white guy in the United States who's like above 50 will have one of these shirts. But anyway, yeah, so we have this kind of brown colored kimono here, which has an interesting sort of cross pattern on it. And then we have this inner kimono peeking out here and here. Then again, we have a little bit of the kind of underwear, I guess you'd say, or, you know, like inner kimono, I guess you'd say, or underwear, I don't know which. Here. So it's peeking out of her arm here, and it's peeking out of her arm right here. And that's about it. But then if you come down at the bottom, we have another color. So we have this kind of darker purple. And then if we look really closely here, we can see that this dark purple is also right here and right here. So there's even another layer. So she's dressed very warmly for this trip to the beach. And, you know, we don't know what time of year this is, but the way she's dressed makes us think, well, this certainly isn't, you know, going to be the summertime, because, you know, it could be very hot probably. So this is going to be sometime in the, you know, spring or fall or winter, something like that. But we do have a blue sky, so I'm going to say it's probably spring. But anyway, just a really lovely piece. Yeah, nicely done. The beach is nice. This little bit of rocky kind of design is nice here. We have a really great and solid and clean Toshi Kata signature here, which is really nice. Sometimes they're kind of scratched out, and, you know, they've been printed a bunch of times, so it's not very clear. This one is very clear, actually. So yeah, just a really nice design. You can see the bleed through on the back is also very nice. This print was also fairly affordable. It's not in perfect condition, but actually it's in really good condition. It doesn't look like it's trimmed too much. It has, you know, has all the regular stuff going on. So yeah, I just think it's just a nice design. Really nice. Glad to have it. It definitely has the fold lines. This was a fairly popular image, and I think it's fairly easy to find a copy of this if you want a copy of this. So yeah, I think that for anybody who's looking for a copy of this, you will find it. But it goes, the range of pricing for this print is all over the place. You can find it for fairly inexpensively, say I don't know, maybe $75 to $100, and then you can also find it for $200 or $300 because it is a very popular design sometimes. So if you see it at like a larger gallery, they may charge those kind of prices for this print. It is a really popular design. It kind of indicates a certain era of Japan. So it gives people, I think, that kind of nostalgia that they're searching for sometimes. And this print just kind of has it. It definitely kind of screams this era, this era of Japan. I like it. I think it's a lovely print. And like I said, I think this is the second or third copy that I have. But yeah, really, really nice print. I'm very happy to have it. And yeah, it's for your collection if you want one. It's easy to find. I think you could find a copy if you want one. And again, at some point, I'll probably be selling one if I can ever figure out how to live a life while I'm working this job that I have right now, which is taking up a lot of my time. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to focus on that at the moment. Okay, this is maybe the final print for the day. I've gone 45 minutes. I might do one more after this. I don't know. We'll see. Let me see. This one is definitely the most surprising print of this particular trip. I really love it. Sadly, the condition isn't perfect, but I really love this print. So it's very interesting. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it. If you have, let me know. But I have not seen this print. It's by Aishun, Yamamoto Aishun. And it is a really, really lovely design. Unfortunately, some of the colors from something that was red kind of bleed through on this part here. There's also a little bit of overprinting here and here, but I actually think I can take that off, so I'm not worried about that. But this bleed through, I will not be able to take this off. So the only way to fix this is for me to find a matching lime green print and take off thin pieces and put them on these spots, which I may try to do it because I actually really love this print and I haven't seen it before, not to my knowledge anyway. I have to look in the book. Like I said, I didn't remember what I'd even bought on this trip. So this was definitely a surprise for me to find it. And I really like it. I think it's lovely. It's just such an unusual design, like you have a woman with a violin, which, you're not seeing a lot of music instruments, but that is definitely a Western sort of vibe going on with this one. Excuse me for a moment. Talking myself hoarse here. Okay, so again, we have a print by Yamamoto Aishun, and it's a really lovely design. Can you guys see it okay? Gosh, I don't know why my screen seems so light today. I mean, so dark to me today. I don't know if I've got it really low or what. I don't want it to stop filming, so I'm not going to mess with it. But anyway, I hope you guys can see it okay. Anyway, I can adjust it later if it's not. Okay, so here we have a beauty who's holding a violin. We have like a curtain. So probably this is going to be a stage, I'm imagining. The idea is this is someone who's going to be playing their violin probably on stage. I mean, we have a curtain here, which comes down, sort of drapes down. I mean, it only shows up in the back, except we do have the rope here. So we know that it's coming down like this. It gives a tiny little bit of it here. But again, we have these colors kind of smeared around, which are sort of lessening the overall effect of the design. But again, it was not an expensive print. I'm very happy to have it because I've never seen it before, and I really like the works of Yamamoto Aishun. So yeah, I'm happy to have it, even though it's not perfect. I will try and fix these. I think it's possible. So I think I'm going to try to find a print that is not in good shape that has this lime color and see if I can fix it. Yeah, it'll be tough. I'm not going to lie, but if I can fix it, it'll be great. All right. So let me zoom in a little bit. Let's do this with a zoom in so you guys can have a clear, concise, not moving around as much. Sorry if it's been jumping around a lot today. I'm trying to get good imagery so while I talk about it, you can see what I'm talking about. So we have two hair pieces and a little bit of a rope or a silver chain here as well. Really interesting design. There is a little bit of damage right here. So there's a little piece of damage right there. So that's not part of the design peeking through. That is supposed to be black. That is very easy for me to fix, so I can fix that, no problem. But this overprinting right here and this overprinting here, I'm going to have to work on it, but I do think I'll get that off pretty easily. The tear only seems to be here, so I'll be able to patch that pretty easily too. All right, anyway, whatever. I'm gonna try and fix what I can on this design. I really love it, and I would love if I could make it in better condition, but we'll see. So we have two hair pieces here. We have one here and one here. Now they are both. You guys can see that those are metallic, right? You guys see that? See how it's kind of shiny? So they're all metallic. This one has metallic in it. This chain is metallic, and this little clip right here is also metallic. So we have three metallic objects there. Those are all the metallic objects on this print are in the hair right here, which is fine. It's nicely done. It's not too much, and it's an interesting kind of affectation to have this silver in the hair. Makes it pop a lot, so it's nice. Okay, so moving on, we got the hair here. Nice bokashi in this hair. A little bit too much. I would have liked to see it a little bit more solid, but it is very nicely done. You can see the forehead line here, and it just kind of peeks through. So the bokashi around the edge, it's very evident. It's not too much, but it's kind of close. Like if it was any more than this, it might have made it look very weird. But it is what it is. I mean, we get what we get. I've never seen this before, so to me, this is a great design, and hopefully, I can clean it up and make it look better. But I'm okay with the bokashi. It's just a little bit heavy, but it is nice and it looks fine. We have some loose hairs hanging down right here, which is really nice. A little bit more over here, and then we can see a little bit of the hair right here. It's an interesting look because it makes this part look white here, which is just interesting. I guess they really wanted it to have that see-through kind of feathered effect that you would see in someone's hair. Then we have some nice thick eyebrows, nice eyes, really well done. A little bit of that blush that I'm talking about that I like. They did a good job with it here. This is very light and it's really well done, so I really like that. We have come down to the neck. We have a little neckline here. A little bit of red popping through. A lot of red and orange popping through down here. But we can see a little bit here. The mouth is very nice. I'm going to pull in a little bit. The mouth is very nice here. The nose, the whole face looks excellent, actually. One thing that's really nice, too, is they did do some blind printing here. So you see the blind printing pattern that they've added right in here. So that's really nice. And there is a name for this, by the way, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. But yeah, so you have a blind pattern right here that's in here. We have a button right here, which actually looks a little like a button, which is pretty nice. They don't usually put a lot of detail into that, but you can actually see that looks like a little button there, which is nice. Then we're going to go down a little, and we have the general outfit. So we basically have a kind of a dark blue, navy blue kimono. We have kind of a solid blue. It's not really an obi, it looks like, because it comes all the way down. So this is some sort of a dress. I'm not sure what it indicates, but this looks to be longer. The obi would only be a belt, right? It would come to here. So this is something longer. I'm not sure what it is. It's a special kind of dress for something. It does come down a little bit in the back or the sleeve, and then we have the inner popping of the reddish orange of the sleeves here, and here. And then we have the violin, which is really nice. Oh, and there's a popping out here of the sleeve, I believe, as well. So I think this is her arm, and it's kind of sleeved over like this. But we have the violin here, which is really nice. And then we have a ring, of course, because that has to be in all the pieces as a ring. But yeah, and then over on this side, we have this flower pot, which is kind of interesting. The color matches this, which is kind of an interesting choice. I don't know if I would have gone with that choice, but it's hard to tell with all this kind of background color that shouldn't be here. It does make the design a little bit difficult to kind of get your head around a little because it's popping in places it shouldn't. This pink shouldn't be right here. This pink shouldn't be right here. So I'm going to have to, hopefully I can fix it. I don't know if I can. But anyway, we have a flower and a flower pot here, and we have this little word here, which came from a specific type of magazine or book. They usually published with these little words on the side right here. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. But yeah, just a really lovely design. I was really excited when I found this. This was the last piece that I found on the trip. So that was really, as far as when I was in Tokyo anyway. Just a really nice design. And if I can get it to come back, I can definitely get rid of some of this, which is fine. I just don't know about this stuff over here. So we'll see. It would be so great if I could get rid of it, but I just don't know if I can. So I'll just, if I'm able to do it, I'll show you guys, but I don't know. It's not going to be by tomorrow, that's for sure. And it has full margins. And again, this one was not ever in a book. There's no fold lines. So this was, came from the collection or the X of the publisher. So the publisher had some extra copies and they sold it to dealers or galleries or whatever, however they dealt with those. And luckily I ended up with one. My understanding is this piece came from Tomo Asahi's collection, actually. That's what I was told anyway. Hopefully that's right. I don't actually know, but probably. I don't know why it wouldn't. He probably sells prints from time to time if he gets new copies that are in better shape, or he wants to raise money for funding his next project or whatever. Excuse me. So I believe it could definitely be from Tomo Asahi's collection. Like I said, I haven't seen it before, but I'll see if it's on the DVD now that I have a chance to remember what prints I actually bought. Let's take a look at the bleed through. Really lovely bleed through all the way around. The purple's great. The blue is great. Unfortunately, this pink here is great. And then we got the plant here, which is pretty nice. So just like some really, really lovely bleed through. Clearly obvious, very obviously that it's a woodblock print. And yeah, we'll see if I'm able to clean it up. There actually is a patch, right? Is there? No, it's not a patch. It must have been mounted in a book at one time. But in any event, there you go. So, oh yeah, I never showed the signature. So the signature is here. Aishun, it says. And yeah, but anyway, it's Yamamoto Aishun. Very hard to find nice pieces by this artist. They're very difficult to come across. And when you do, they often are not in great condition. But he has some really dynamic designs. He's one of my favorite artists for sure. But very hard to find his work. So I have, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8, maybe 10. I don't know, but I don't have that many pieces by him because they're not easy to find. And even if you're a hard, I was not expecting this. When I went to the shop, they were like, "Oh yeah, we have this one design." I was like, "Okay, great, I'll take it." So that was nice. Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't thinking at the time. I was so excited about this print, which wasn't cheap. I mean, it wasn't expensive, but it wasn't cheap, that's for sure, but it wasn't expensive. But the thing about it that was funny was the dealer had some other prints and they were like, "Oh, what about these?" And I was like, "Well, I kind of like, I'll try to find prints in the best condition." And they were like, "Oh, you probably wouldn't want to see these then." And they just set them to the side. And because I was so excited about this one, I didn't say, "Actually, can I take a look at those?" Which I really should have, but I didn't. So anyway, I think I might have lost out on something really great there because I was so excited about this print and I was so unexpected to come across it in this random shop that I just didn't even look at the other prints they had. So, and it was kind of the end of my day, so I was in a bit of a rush to get back to my family. But anyway, I am happy to have shared this with you. This one also will not fit in the book, which so I'm going to need to grab one of the other books. With the larger books, I think I only have 2 of those large books. Thankfully, well, I don't know about thankfully. The larger prints are really nice, actually, but they just weren't that common. So, you're not gonna come across those too often. What is this one? So I wanted to open one more design. It's only been around. I mean, it's an hour. It's a long time. Sorry, I'm taking so long. But there's one book here that I think is something I'm really interested in seeing. I ordered this like I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a few months, before 3 or 4, 5 months ago, something like that. And I'm not even sure if it's the right one, but there was one print that I was really excited about. I remember it came in an odd-sized book. So I kind of think this is it because I don't have that many other odd-sized books. And it was very expensive for me anyway. So I'm going to open this up and let's see if this is the book in question. I still have no idea if this is the right book. so hopefully it is. And we'll look at it together. And this is going to be a surprise for all of us. Andrea, I'm sorry to tell you that I'm sorry for myself, actually, to say that I did not get the Kaburaki Kata that you guessed I had gotten. Unfortunately, I do not have a copy of that print. It's beautiful. I would love to have a copy. So, yeah, unfortunately not me. But I would love to have one. Like I said, if I can find one, I'll be happy to buy it. Okay, this is, I believe, if this is the right one. Oh, it's nice. Oh, that's lovely. So I really love when they do this on the interiors of these books. They put the extra effort in to make them feel special. This is a woodblock print on the inner cover here. Nicely done. Komura Setai is really known for doing this. And Kaburaki Kyukata did it as well. This book is not supposed to be Kaburaki Kyukata, but I can't remember if this is the right book or not. We can see the bleed through here. So you can tell it is a woodblock. You can see the bleed through right on the next page. Let's see what we have here. Oh, I believe that's Kyoka Izumi. So this is probably a book by Kyoka Izumi. You know what? Let's just take a quick look, actually, since we're here, and this is what we're all here for, right? So let me take a look. Let's see. Let's see what book this is. Not that that'll tell me, because I don't know which. I don't know if that thing I'm thinking about came with this particular book, because I can't remember. I just remember it came in a book that was kind of this shape. You know, it was kind of a longer shape. So this could be Volume 1, Collection of Complete Leaves. Kenobi Bunyodo Collection. Himotaka 1, 2, 3. So this is maybe a compendium volume where they put several books together into one combined, like a, you know, it includes all three of the, oh good, it is the right print. Okay, cool. All right, let's get on with this. I wanted to see if it was Kyoka Izumi, and I don't know how to tell, actually. I can't get it to, it's not translating what I need it to be in order to figure out who the artist is. Let's see. Imotaka. I mean, that's clearly Japanese. Imotaka, that's, yeah, Imotaka, I don't know. Hang on, let's take a look here. Imotaka, 1, 2, 3. Let's see, how about that? What does that say? Nope, spring leaves. All right, hang on a minute. I believe, I just want to see if I really got it right on that. Sorry if this is boring, guys. You can just scoot forward to the print if you don't care to know this stuff. I just want to see if I'm right. Printed editing stamp owner. This book was printed in oh boy. Actually, it doesn't say it in a way that I can understand it. I don't know. Okay, I'll have to do this in the later. I'll put the information that I can get from this in the video description for you guys, so you can know what it is. Okay, this is the print, and I'm very happy to have gotten this print. This is by Hirosaki Eiho. It's a really, really lovely design. It's quite long. It's a little bit longer than it is wide, and it's just really, really beautiful. I was fortunate to get it. It was expensive. I mean, I was willing to pay extra money for it because I really like it. So, you know, that's how I feel about prints. Sometimes I'm willing to pay more, and sometimes I'm not. It just depends. Let me just put something here to hold this down so we can talk about this without getting in the way of anything. Sorry, let me see if I can find something to hold this on so we can talk about it without it flopping around. Unfortunately, I don't have anything really stiff right here to put underneath it, but we'll just use this. Okay, so what we have here is a very lovely print by Hirosaki Eiho. I don't think I've seen this for sale before. It's not a humongous print. It's fairly small. Again, I think the book size is coming into play. Like I said, it's kind of a small book. Like it's a weird skinny book. But it is really lovely, and I really hemmed and hawed. You know, this print, I debated buying it for a long time, but then they had a sale at the store where I bought it, and I thought, you know, I'll just buy it. I mean, it's so great, and I haven't seen it before. So I did buy it, but it was actually quite expensive. So anyway, I love it. I think it's beautiful. It does have a little bit of overprinting in a couple spots, but it's not a lot. So I think it's probably fine. Let me, let's see, how can I do this? Let me move this down a little. There we go. Okay, now we can get a good view of the face. So what we have here is a beauty, which is very common with Kuchi-e. We have the Hirosaki Eiho signature, Eiho Hista, it says. So drawn by Eiho. We have lovely, lovely large. This is why I wanted this piece, because I feel like it's fairly large. I mean, it's not large in the grand scheme of things. There are a lot of larger like prints with large, but this is pretty good size. You know, like it's a good size print. I mean, this is my hand, so it's like pretty good size. Anyway, so we have the beauty's face here. She looks clearly she's in some sort of distress, a little bit of inner turmoil, maybe a little bit sad. But there's just some things about this print that I super love that I don't find in a lot of other places. This print reminds me a lot of the work of Ito Shinsui, or Shinsui Ito. Shinsui Ito, you know, is the #1 for sure Shinhanga artist who does beauties. And Shinsui Ito had a very identifiable style, but I think this is really close. I mean, this is a very, very similar sort of affectation or like design style that reminds me a lot of some of Shinsui Ito's work. So here we have the lovely hair. So the hair is lovely, but it's not got that swept back, with a bunch of the stuff. It's not like that. It's a little more splotchy. It's got a little bit more of it's just like a thicker, chunkier style. I really like it though. Like, it's not common. Okay. So we have a thicker, chunkier sort of hair design. We have this, hair block, I guess you'd say, or some sort of a clip. I don't know, but it looks like it's underneath part of the hair. So this part of the hair like comes down, and then it comes back over, and then the clips hold it in place. I don't exactly know how the hair pieces work, but I know sometimes you just curl the hair over something, and they have these like filler sort of pieces in the middle. So I feel like this might be one of those. Then we have a hair pin here going through, and then we have a comb here as well. But it all looks really nice, and it's very thick and very dark. There's not a lot of patterns like we see in some of our other Kuchi-e. This one is fairly thick. We do have a little bit of bokashi here on this part of the hair, which looks nice. They've done a little bit of an under gray tone, which looks great. And then the beautiful thing here is her eye color. Look at what they've done with those eyes. I mean, that is just awesome. This is really uncommon. They've made her eyes sort of a light brown, and it just really looks so interesting to me. Sorry, that came out really bright. I'm not sure why that did that. Hang on a minute. Some color has gotten very unbalanced there. But yeah, the eyes just have, why is it doing that? That's really bizarre. Huh. Oh, sorry guys. I don't know what happened to the color here. Some color got imbalanced. In any event, I really like the eyes. Let me see if I can just zoom in. But you see how they have this, it's weird that it's doing that. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's causing that. But anyway, you can see here, there's like this brown. It's just a really lovely light brown. That was the thing that really drew me to this piece ultimately. The piece itself is a little bit chunkier than normal, which I like. And then also we have this just fully designed piece. The background is filled with gray. It's not just left blank. And then we have this lovely woman who is a little bit distressed, but just a really, really nice design. And then we have her kind of folding her arm. So her arm comes down, it kind of folds underneath her armpit here, sort of tucked in, sort of as she's, maybe it's tucked into her obi. She's kind of thinking about something, looking a little distressed. Beautiful kimono design with this kind of like a pool waves, here on the top, in this inner kimono here, this light blue, which is also a really nice color that's not used too often. And then we have a darker blue with stripes here. And then here we have a little bit of pop of color, just to really like, pow, like set it in. We have a little purple, a little bit of pink. It looks like there's a little bit of birds or flower design in here. And then we have the obi, which is sort of like brown and blue and dark brown and beige, a little bit of orange and yellow. It's just a really, really lovely design. Let me know what you guys think of this design. I think it's really great. I did pay a lot for it, like I said, so I don't know. I love it though, so I don't feel like I've lost out on anything. It's a really lovely design. It does have this one spot right here. Can you guys see that? There's like a tiny little something right there. I don't know what that is or where that came from, but it's like a little loop of color, and I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it's something I can get out either. Well, it's not on the back, so maybe. But yeah, I don't know. I don't love that. I wish that wasn't there. And then there's a little bit of over printing. Sorry. There's a little bit of over printing that kind of came out right here and here too, but I think those will come off pretty easily actually. So yeah, then we have the signature up here, really nice signature, just a lovely design. The bleed through is obviously really nice. There's a little something here. I don't know what that is. There's a little dirt or something. Thankfully, it doesn't seem to come through on the face, so I lucked out there. But it definitely has a little bit of smudgy something going on right here. Sorry, it's hard for me to move this because it's attached to this big clunky book. But yeah, just a really lovely, lovely print. I'm so happy I got this. And while, like I said, it was expensive, but I'm happy to have paid the price because I really like this design. And I don't think these are that common, like they're not that easy to find. If you're looking for these in Shinhanga, well, then you can definitely find something like this. But for Kuchi-e, it's not that common. I was going to measure this to show you the sizing of it because it is a pretty oddly sized print as well. It's not it's not a full size. So this is 7 by 11. So it's like a little bit longer and a little bit thinner, but not a huge amount. It's about 1.5 inches thinner, and it's about a 1/2 inch longer. So, or yeah, about a 1/2 inch. So, not too, it's not too overwhelmingly different. By the way, I do like that they made this shadow here. So see how it gets a little darker on this side? So they've done that to give it like a little bit of a shadow effect. It's very uncommon in Kuchi-e, actually. I wish they did it more often because it wasn't hard to do, and it does such a nice thing. You know, it makes it look so nice. But anyway, I just wanted to share this with you guys because it's such a great print. And by the way, these white lines right here, I believe, are again Gofun, that white paint that I was talking about, because they're almost treated like they're metallic inks, but they're not metallic inks, they're white instead. But I think they were applied in the same kind of way. I think it took extra effort to put these particular white lines here. So anyway, that's going to be the end of the video today, guys. I hope everybody had a nice visit. Nice visit. I hope you had a nice time listening to me talk about woodblock prints. These are all the prints I got from Japan except this one. And I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 more prints to talk about, but I didn't want to make this video too long because I kind of like have committed myself to doing this being posted tomorrow. So yeah, so let me get going. Thank you all. I hope everybody has a great spring. We're definitely in spring and summers here in the next month. Actually, yeah, tomorrow. Well, spring will be here on the 21st of January, but I mean June. But anyway, everybody have a nice spring, and I love you all. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I have 79 subscribers. I'm trying to get to 80. So one of you out there who hasn't subscribed, please subscribe. And definitely, if you like my videos, please like them. That's it. Everybody have a great week, great day, and I will talk to you next video.